Hi, my name is Jennifer Hatch, and I work with Fluens Children's Therapy. I am a pediatric occupational therapist. We are located in Columbia, Tennessee at 800 Hatcher Lane. And today I'm just going to be talking a little bit about occupational therapy and what it is that we truly do. When I typically have caregivers in during my evaluations, the first question that I will ask is, are you familiar with occupational therapy? And honestly, the most common answer that I get is no. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about, again, what occupational therapy is and kind of where the name occupational really came from. So in occupational therapy, we kind of break it up into 8 occupations, and that's kind of where occupational therapy comes from. So the first occupation we have is activities of daily living. So we call these ADLs. So these are going to be your self-care skills. So looking at bathing or showering, looking at toileting so we can address potty training, getting ourselves dressed, feeding with utensils, just feeding in general. So then we have instrumental activities of daily living. And this is going to be your kind of mundane day-to-day tasks. So that involves managing money, grocery shopping, cleaning your house. So for kiddos, that could be in terms of doing chores, whether it's cleaning the bathroom, sweeping, dishes, things of that nature. Next, we have rest and sleep. So kind of goes without saying, but this is, your ability to get a good night's rest, whether that is, establishing a bedtime routine or whether it's regulation before you go to bed so that we can get that nice, full 8 hours of sleep, because sleep is very essential for overall cognitive functioning. So that can hinder development if we're not getting adequate sleep. The next one is education. So this is going to be, addressing attention at school, following directions. We can also look at your peer interactions and also looking at fine motor skills required for, doing academic tasks such as handwriting, cutting, coloring, things of that nature. So we can all kind of help kiddos succeed across their schooling. So for work is the next one. And this is tailored a little bit more towards the adult population. But, we can, if you're having any sort of ergonomic issues at work, things of that nature we can address. But, a job for a child is truly, play and education. So that's kind of where a pediatric OT focuses on that with kiddos. The next one is play, and play is essential for development in children. And so this is looking at just general play skills, your social play skills, how you're interacting with your environment, things of that nature, which is why occupational therapy is very play-based. The next is leisure. This one, again, is a little bit geared more towards, the older population. What are you doing in your free time? Whether it's sewing, drawing, cooking, baking, anything that you like to do that you're struggling with, an occupational therapist can help in that area. And then the last one is social participation. So kind of tying it back into that play with the kiddos, social participation is going to be, communicating with your community, being able to socially interact appropriately. And so we also address social participation. And so those are the 8 occupations, which is kind of where the name occupational therapy comes from. So some common reasons that a child might see an occupational therapist is if they're struggling, at home with self-care skills, whether we're struggling at school with our academic skills, whether we're struggling socially, whether that be through play or just community. So any of those occupations that I briefly discussed already, if they're struggling in any of those areas, it definitely does not hurt to, seek an occupational therapy evaluation and see if there's any way that we can help. If you have a question as to whether it's something that an OT would address, you can give us a call and I'd be more than happy to talk to you over the phone and see if there's something that we can do. But with us having such a large scope of practice, I can probably guarantee that we can help you in just about any way that is needed. So in our OT sessions, I typically have, it's a 45-minute session. And so what it kind of looks like is very play-based. You know, we want it to be fun and engaging for the kids. We don't want them to feel like they're doing work. So a lot of it, you know, we're sitting on the floor, we're doing some floor play. You know, I have a little crash pad over here. I have swing, I have all sorts of sensory things. But if we're addressing something like attention, following directions, we will do a lot of structured tasks. So whether that's seated at the table and we're working on, you know, either pre-writing or handwriting skills, but we also do some fun things like coloring and cutting at the table as well. So with play being the most important occupation for kiddos, occupational therapy is very play-based. So that's kind of how we work through, you know, gaining those skills is through play. So if you have any concerns, you know, with your child's development, whether it be at school, at home, in the community, whether you're noticing some little fine motor difficulties, you know, definitely give us a call. We do not have a wait list right now to get you in for an evaluation. And we would love for y'all to come here and hang out with us. So if you are, you know, thinking that your child may need occupational therapy, definitely give us a call and we'd be happy to help.